Hey everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my craft room. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. We are going to have a lot of fun creating a really fun card today. So in this video, I am going to be creating a birthday card for my hubby. I was inspired by a cute little stamp set that I just knew I had to have, and I knew this card just needed to happen. It's so cute and it's so me and my husband. So in this video, we're going to be doing a variety of things. We're going to be doing some stamping. We're going to really slow down and have some fun doing some coloring with alcohol markers. And then we're also going to be doing some watercolor painting with our ink pads. So really, really fun. This is a really relaxing card build and I hope you love it. So go ahead and give this a thumbs up if you're ready to see how this cute card comes together. We're going to be using a variety of stamp sets and die sets to bring this together, which I think is really fun because I found inspiration to do something like this, but you, based on the little stamps that come in the collections, could totally take this in a different direction and do something totally different. So that's one of the things I appreciate most about stamp sets is everybody looks at them in different ways and you can get inspired in different ways. So it's a really fun way to also stretch your stamp sets and make them go a little longer. So as a reminder, down in that description box below, I will link all of the things I'm using today, including all the stamp sets and all the little dies that I'm using. This is so easy and so fun, and I hope you decide to recreate this or something similar. Let's go ahead and get started building this sweet little card, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so this whole card is going to be largely inspired by this cute little stamp set. I loved the Life is Better When We Binge Watch Together because that is basically my husband and I. We love date night on the couch. It's so fun. We love, love, love finding a show together, and then it's always really fun when you find a good show and then you see there are multiple seasons of it because then you can just binge it and it's so fun. So my question for you is drop down into the comment section and let me know what your favorite binge show is or what you are watching right now and what you would recommend, because we love finding good series, and later in this video I'll try to share some of the fun things that we have found and some of our favorite binge shows. But let me know what yours are because we always love good recommendations. I also love the boy and the girl. I think they're so, so cute, and we're going to definitely use a lot of the stamps on this collection. We're also going to be bringing in the couch from this stamp set, and we're also going to be using the window frame from this final die set. So you can also bring in some curtains, the curtain rod, things like that, but I am only going to be using the window frame. I'm going to keep this pretty simple in terms of backdrop and then really have fun with the stamps that are going to be in the foreground. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get started with a little bit of watercoloring with my ink cubes just to create a really fun sky backdrop to build our card up on. So let's go ahead and get started with that, and then we'll get to stamping and coloring because I pulled a lot of fun colors for this stamp set that we're going to be using. Okay, so I have a piece of watercolor cardstock here. I have very much fallen in love with the Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock. It's very nice to work with, and more importantly, it's a really nice bright white. So this is a cardstock that is going to actually be my back panel for this card. And because I'm going to be using some other cardstock that is not watercolor paper in this card, I really like the Tim Holtz because it matches really, really well. So I also cut out two pieces of this window frame out of, I think I did 80 pound. It feels like 80 pound cardstock. You could do 110 pound as well if you really wanted to make it even more bulky and dimensional. And pardon my gluey fingers. I'm having a lot of fun crafting today, so I'm bringing some sticky fingers to the table today. But I went ahead and just put that window frame through my die cut machine with some 80 pound cardstock 2 times. That way we can build it up. So let's go ahead. I have my watercolor paper. I'm going to set that to the side for just a moment, and I am going to go ahead and just grab this little precision glue bottle. I have some Gina K glue in it, and I am going to stack my window frame. Again, I showed you this die set at the beginning of the video. You could also add curtains, a curtain rod, have a lot of fun with this. I'm going to keep it simple, and you'll see why in a little bit. I'm a little bit more on the simplistic side, and I just thought a nice, clean window frame was all this card really needed. So I have some glue on the back. I'm just going to simply line this up and stack it. That way we have more of a thick window frame that's nice and substantial in our backdrop. Because it's liquid glue, you have a little bit of time to wiggle around and really line that up. And then what I will do is I'm just going to take one of my stamping blocks, place that up there, and give it a good press and let it dry. In the meantime, I'm going to grab an ink cube and a watercolor brush, and I'm going to get ready to do a night sky on the back of this panel. So I'm going to go ahead and use Merman. I also have a watercolor brush. I really like this brush for just painting. I find that I have just gone with this over and over again. I'll be sure to link it down below, as well as any of the other things I'm using. But I'm going to really quickly bring this in, and I'm going to place this closely to where I'm going to want it. Now, we're not going to put this down just yet because we're going to do some painting first, but I want to get an idea of where I want this on the card. And I am thinking there looks perfect. So I'm going to lightly take a pencil, and I'm just going to very lightly, that was even a little too dark, I'm going to very lightly kind of trace that outer edge. That way when I take this off, I can see an area of, where I need to focus with my painting. So I'm going to bring this back up here, just let it kind of set, even though I think it's pretty much done. And then I'm going to bring in my little magnets here and just let that set so it doesn't move. Okay, let's bring in some of this Merman, and that's the color of this pretty ink. You can go in any direction. I actually did a couple mock-ups of this card. I also tried doing more of a navy blue backdrop, just to do like more of a deep sky, but I ended up really just liking kind of more of a mint or aqua kind of look in the background. It's just a little bit more me, and I liked the pop of color it provided. I'm just taking a wet paintbrush, and I'm just going to dampen the area that I am going to paint. So again, that's just that kind of lined area that I drew with my pencil, just dampening that so that the paper is ready to receive some of that color really nice and well. Okay, and then with my ink cube, I'm just going to take some of that and wet it down with some water just to kind of really loosen that up a little bit. And then I'm going to add some color. Now you can start really lightly and then always go back and add more. That's how I like to approach it. You can always add more. So I go in light, and then I can know that I can bump it up a little bit. I'm going to actually come outside of that pencil line just a little bit. Just so it really covers. And then I'm going to go back through and just bump up the color a little bit more, just by adding another layer. Okay, and then you can just have fun with how that water kind of moves on the paper and creates a different kind of look. And then I'm going to bring in just a little bit more, just so I can get a little bit punchier, if you will. There we go. Ooh, I really like that. I think that's really fun. Okay, I am going to let this dry. I'm also going to bring in my frame here and just make sure if I hover over that I have it covered enough. And I do. I think that looks nice. Okay, so we'll bring that back over, and I'm going to set this panel to the side and just allow it some time to dry. Okay, wiping off my board here, getting it nice and clean so we can continue. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my Misti in, and we're going to stamp some images out, and then we're going to get ready to color. Okay, I'm going to bring in a piece of 80-pound cardstock here, and let's see. Obviously, we want the boy and the girl, so I'm going to bring my stamps out, and let's place them on there. So we want boy, girl. I also want to grab a couple of the little accessories, if you will. I'm going to grab the remote. At least I think that's a remote. It's going to be a remote in my story here. The remote. I'm going to grab this little cup with a straw and then this little bowl of popcorn. So I'll grab those 3 as well. And place them right on my paper. Okay, I'm going to worry about the sentiment later, so I will bring this back in later to do the sentiment. But before that, let's see, I have him, her, I have a couple accessories. I want to do the couch. We need something for them to sit on. So I'm going to grab this separate set of stamps and we'll put the couch right down here. I'm going to be using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink because, again, I will be coloring later on. So I want to make sure that I use an alcohol-friendly ink so that we don't have any smearing. We'll get some nice clean lines. So I'm going to grab my ink and I'm just going to ink up all of the stamps that I selected. And then I'm going to press those down. Just giving a nice rub over those. And definitely want to do another impression. I'm going to actually, I feel like I've used this stamp set before, but I feel like I still need to condition it a little bit because I'm seeing a little bit of like a marbly look. So let me kind of get a nice rub on these and then we'll see if we can remedy that. Let me let these dry and we'll see if that helps. Okay, let's go ahead and do another. Oh, that's already helping so much. Okay. Sometimes you just need to condition those stamps a little bit. Sometimes you don't though, so it kind of depends. Sometimes you just do a little run and see that it's not quite transferring as smooth, and then you can try again. Okay, just rubbing this down. I just take a little washcloth just to kind of give myself a little bit more of a glide over the door of my Misti. And I think that looks really nice. I'm going to be happy with that. Okay, before I put my Misti away, I also want to do some little pillows for the couch. But instead of doing them and coloring them in, I am going to put the pillows on a little piece of patterned paper. And I honestly cannot remember what this patterned paper is from, or else I would source it for you down below in the description box, but such is the life of a crafter. Sometimes you just don't remember, quite honestly, where everything is from. So let me go ahead and clean off these current stamps, and then I'm going to bring in the little pillow. And the pillow is in the set with the couch. So I'm just going to use this little pillow right here. Okay, so cleaning, and put these away and grab the little pillows. Okay, taking the couch off, placing it back, and I'll grab that little pillow. I'm just gonna set it here. Now you can kind of place it so that, you know, you are placing it on an area with the desired pattern. So kind of take your time there and be thoughtful about, you know, where that pattern is lying on the stamp. And I like that, so I will go ahead and close and ink this up. Now, I'm not going to be coloring this further, but because I have the Memento out, it's just a fine ink regardless if you're coloring or not. I'm going to stamp that down, see if we can get that in one impression. That looks good, but because I did everything else in 2, I'm going to just go ahead and do that one more time, only because I just want it to match in boldness. So we'll do that. And then I am quite simply going to turn my paper so I don't have to move my stamp. And I'm going to do it one more time. That way I have a his and her pillow on the couch. So I'll stamp this up one more time. And there we go. And one more time. And there we go. Okay, I love that. So now let me clean off my stamp and we will be ready to color. So these are done. I will just take the coordinating die and later run that through my Spellbinders to cut those out. But those are easy peasy lemon squeezy done. And the next thing we're going to do is start coloring in our images. Totally fibbed while we're here. Working smarter, not harder. I'm going to grab just a piece of cardstock. I have a little scrap piece. Always save your scraps because they work really well for doing the sentiments. They're just the perfect size. And really quickly, I'm just going to do my sentiment. That way all my stamping is done at once, and then I can kind of place my stamp sets away and be ready to move on. Okay, so I'm going to grab, it's a 2-lined sentiment. So you're just going to take your time lining it up. And again, I chose Life is Better When We Binge Watch Together. So cute. I'm going to place this in the center of this scrap piece of cardstock. And that looks good. And later on, I'm going to use a banner die to cut it out. So I just want to give myself a lot of room around it. Okay, I think that's going to be nice. Oops, whoops, whoops, whoops. I'm not embossing. I'm not embossing. I am, where is my ink? Oh, it's staring at me. Okay, grabbed the wrong ink, but now I'm good. Now, this is a very delicate little font. Hopefully I lined that up just right. So it doesn't take much pressure once you close the door. I just kind of tap and just do kind of a light rub. Oh my goodness, that looks perfect. And I love the spacing. I'm going to just do it one more time just to say I did. But honestly, that's perfection. Okay. Love it. Okay, I'm going to set this to the side. We will run this through the Spellbinders later with that banner die, but I felt it worth it just to get all the stamping done at one time. And then we can put the Misti away. Okay, I have some colors that I pulled, so I will just set these off to the side and grab them as needed. But I have some colors I thought would be really fun with this stamp set and creating this whole scene. So what I'm going to do is let's start with, well, let's go ahead and just start with her hair. So I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use 3 colors here. Y1, Y3, and YR33 for her hair here. So I'm going to, and sometimes I kind of have to test, I have a lot of surrounding area, so I can kind of test where I want to start. I'm thinking I'll start with the Y1. I'm going to bring in some kind of shading around the perimeter of her hair. So here, here, and kind of just around. Okay, and then I'll also kind of go around her bang area. I'm not really worried about the light source here. I'm just worried about creating, not worried, that's not even the right word, but I'm not overly concerned, I suppose, about light source, but more about dimension. Okay, so I'm just going to do that to start. I think that looks nice. Then I'll take my lighter shade of Y3 and I'm going to just kind of pull the darker color down, creating that mid-tone. Okay, I think that looks good. And then just doing one kind of light layer in the middle. Okay, and I think that looks really nice. You can continue kind of blending. I just kind of keep fussing. Oh, I got some of her skin. That's okay. We'll remedy that in a little bit. Kind of keep blending if you'd like. Okay, then I'm going to take this darker color and I am going to use the fine tip. This is the YR33. And I'm just going to come through and kind of create some little strands in her hair, if you will. And it kind of looks mustardy and pretty bold. It's like she just got her, if you are someone who gets highlights, it's kind of like when you just get your hair done, right? And it's kind of all bold until you kind of get a few washes in it. So it looks kind of bold, but just a sec, we're going to give her a few washes in just a second. Just kind of creating a little bit of like stripey in her hair. And then I'm going to grab that brush tip of the lightest, so the Y3, and then I'm just going to tone that down. Okay, just kind of blend that through. That way it's just got a nice highlight wash on there. Ooh, pretty. Okay, I think she's looking good. Okay, now let's let her, just going to bring a little yellow in here. Okay. Let's do her shirt. Actually, I'm also going to bring these colors in. I'm going to bring the darkest. So I'll do the YR33 for this cup. And I'm just going to do one color because it's just so dark. Actually, I'll do that and then I'll bring in the Y1. Change my mind there. And then just really draw that out and do a nice blend. Okay, easy peasy on the little cup. Okay, let's do her shirt. I am going to do, I think I'll just do one color and do the rose pink. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that'll be fun. So I'm gonna bring in here, and she's gonna be holding the popcorn, so I am not gonna over stress about shading because we're essentially going to cover this whole shirt up. So because I'm going to be blending with one color, I'm going to do a couple layers initially, and that's where I'm focusing my shading. Okay, so a couple layers there. I'm actually going to bump it up and do 3 layers. Okay, switching sides to the brush, same color. This is R23. It sounds like something from Star Wars, which admittedly I don't think I've seen in its entirety. I always fall asleep. I know, unpopular opinion. Okay, I like that. I like the blended look of that. I think that's pretty. Okay, I am going to do her jeans, and I'm going to bring in PB11, which is one of my favorite colors. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And I'm just going to use one color to blend here because it's so easy to do with this color. I'm going to bring in some dark over here, kind of like along her knee. And then I'm going to bring in some on the top of her leg here. And then take the other side and just lightly blend that out. Bringing that fine tip back in and then just reiterating the shadows. Just deepen those up a bit because I think it just makes it look like some dimensional denim. Cute. Okay. Happy with her. Now let's do, I'm going to bring that, oh, you know what? Let's see. I'm going to bring in BR2 and I'm going to do that for the shoes. So easy. Just one layer. And because I know I want to do his shoes the same color, I'm going to just do that right there. Oop, I didn't get a great impression on him, but it's gonna be okay because once you get them colored, you don't really stress about the outline. I am going to bring in a colorless blender and fix this boo-boo. So I'm just gonna take that and push it back out. Also, I got some here too. When I don't color in front of people, I color in the lines much better. And then I get nervous. Okay, so I'm gonna let that time to, give it some time to sit, or else I would just start on her skin. But I'm gonna move to him just so I can let that colorless blender tone down. And then let's go and work on his hair. So I'm gonna bring in BR1 and I'm gonna pair it with what we just used, the BR2, to do his hair. So I used that BR2 on the shoes, but the BR1 is just a nice dark, rich brown. And I'm going to bring some here and going careful so I don't go out of the lines. Here, I'm gonna go here. Okay, that's where I went with the shadows. And then I'm gonna take the brush on my lighter color. I'm gonna bring that out and create a mid-tone just by pulling out the darkest. So I'm gonna go to all of my dark and just kind of pull, 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 pull. So it ends up being 2 to 3 layers right at that highlight area or the shadow layer. Okay, and then lightly finish. Okay, I'm gonna do his jeans, bringing that same color that I did hers. I guess I should say mine, because this is me in this story. We are binge watching our favorite show. Our favorite that we've ever done is Grey's Anatomy. It was one of, okay, we feel, I guess I should just speak for myself, but I have always felt that shows kind of always have a season where they just kind of have a down season, right? Where it's not their best season. Kind of people just like kind of keep watching because, you know, they don't want to miss any of the story. But, you know, it's kind of like the storyline kind of wanes. But we agree that Grey's Anatomy never had that. It never had a season where it got boring or disinteresting. It just was good the whole way through, and we loved that. It was just always so good. So that was our favorite in that respect. I'm also going to bring in R8 and R3 for his shirt. And we kind of feel like we have our doctorates at this point because we've just done so much. I mean, doesn't everybody who's watched Grey's Anatomy kind of feel like a professional doctor at that point? Oh my goodness, it makes me respect doctors so much. It's just so much. Okay, Brad, bringing in this darker of the two, which is the R8. Is that right? Yes, R8. Okay, and that is where I'm going to focus. Actually, I'm going to bring some under his chin too, just a little bit. Okay, and then the brush side of R3. And again, he's going to hold the little cup, so I'm not going to overly stress about the blending here because I know it'll be covered. The little hands are just ready to go for the little accessories that they include in the little pack. Now I can do skin. So I'm going to do R18 and R19. And let's see which one we want to start with. R19. I'm going to start, now that that colorless blender has really settled, I'm going to kind of do this left side and call it good. Then I'll bring the brush tip of R18, kind of pull that out. These colors are so similar that the blending is just so subtle and easy. And then I'm just going to do one layer of the R18 on her hands. Okay, same exact thing for him. I love when you finally add a little bit of color to their skin. How much that just makes so much of a difference. Okay, here we go. And some of that red is seeping in. I'm gonna do the colorless blender again here. You know what? That is just not working. I'm gonna restamp him and do him in a bit. So let's move on. I will do him and redo him in a second because I just got a little too much of that red in, and now it's like kind of wanting to spread everywhere. Ugh, red is such a tricky one. Okay, so let's do the couch. I think I'm gonna do CG5. And I think I'll do just CG5. Let me see. Or no, I don't think so, actually. I think I will just do, yep, I'm going to do BG9. It's kind of more of a blue gray, which is just so pretty. And I'm going to do about 3 shadows, or shadow layers. Just really heighten that, especially because I'm just going to do one color for the couch. And this is where all my little shadows are going to fall. Okay. Again, similarly, they're going to be sitting, pillows are going to be placed, so honestly, for this, I'm going to focus really perfecting the armrests and down here, but everything else, we're not going to see it. You arguably probably could just not color the back, but I don't know. It makes me too nervous. I just feel like I want to have everything covered because what if I change my mind? We're coloring now. Okay. Okay, so sometimes with alcohol markers, it does look messier before it looks better. So you'll see that here, but it'll smooth out. And one down here. Again, really, really focusing on the armrests, because you'll see later that is where we are going to see. Everything else is going to be covered by people. Okay. I think that looks nice. I am happy with that. Okay, so now for the, oh, that's where I wanted to bring in the darker. So where did I put that darker gray? Here it is, CG5. I'm just going to do the legs of the sofa. There we go. Easy peasy. I might even kind of double that up just to get a little bit of a darker look. And I'm going to bring in my white gel pen here because I got a little bit out of the lines. So I'll just fix that. Okay, so forgiving when you can do that. Okay, not really worrying about any blotchiness here because again, they're going to cover him or cover the couch, but I will bring in that same BG9 and do 1, 2, and then a very light blend out for my remote, or what I'm calling the remote. We called it growing up a clicker. It's just what we said in my house. It was the clicker. Okay, now we'll do the popcorn. So the popcorn is going to be this BG68. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's kind of similar to the background that we did for watercoloring. And I kind of wanted to bring that color into the foreground a little bit. And then we're going to do the Y1 for the popcorn. Easy peasy. Now, he's looking so sad. I'm going to go ahead and redo him really quickly with a new, I'm just going to stamp him again and redo him. And then we will be all ready. Okay, there we go. And now he looks so much better. I'm going to go ahead and trim him off of the other card because he was just not his best self. Okay, there we go. So we have all of our little pieces. Don't ever be afraid to start over. It's one of the best things about crafting is you can do that at any point. Okay, last thing I want to do is I want to take the R21 fine tip side and I want to add the cute little cheeks. Boop, boop. And then boop and boop. So cute. It's just so worth it to add the little cheeks. Okay, they are all set to go. Now let's go ahead and cut them out. And now it's going to be about gluing and assembling, which is so fun because the whole scene is going to come to life. Oh my gosh. So talk about a transformation. This is just a relatable moment that sometimes this is real life. And then you get a second chance, right? I mean, it just happens. You have to give yourself grace. As long as you're having fun, then, you know, there's nothing to worry about. It's just crafting, right? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is say goodbye to this cutie pie. He's having a rough day. And I'm gonna get out my coordinating dies. And let's run all of these through and get that nice pressed edge cut out. Now, if you did not have the coordinating dies, you of course can, where is my tape? Oh, there it is. You can of course fussy cut, no problem. These are not complex images. I just love the coordinating dies and the nice pressed edges that they create. So I am kind of all-inclusive with that. Okay, so lining that up the best that I can, and I will put coordinating dies on him, her, and then all of the little accessories, and then also we need to do it on the little pillows too. So easy way, you can just grab any pattern paper, but there's a really easy way to skip some coloring there and bring, you know, a fun pattern into your whole look, right? I thought that was a cute idea. Okay, I'm actually gonna have to run this through twice because I only have one die, and that looks great. Okay, so I'm gonna run these through off camera and we will start constructing our card. But actually, I'm having a lot of questions about stamp storage and the little magnetic pieces. So I will definitely place links to those down below since that's a very common question that I'm getting asked. And I, so far, have really loved them. When I started out, I didn't do the little magnetic sheet, thinking I'll just kind of throw them in the back of the pocket, the little dies, and they'll be fine. But let me tell you, I appreciate the organization of the magnetic sheet because I can quickly, for example, locate all the little pieces that I need just by shape instead of having to dump all the dies out and try to find what I need. So to each their own, but for what it's worth, I have found the little magnetic sheets to be pretty beneficial for organizing. So, okay, so I have all those in. So then I just have my pocket, and you know, this is not anything new. So many people do their stamps and dies like this. But I have the pocket with the magnetic sheet in the back. I like to put a piece of white cardstock in between them just because it provides so much contrast for the stamps in the front. You can easily see what they look like. But anyway, for what it's worth, that's how that's done. Okay, I'm gonna run these through and then let's build the card. And then another one that I need to do is I bought the little banner sentiment strips from Fawn, and I will link them down below because I love them. But I am going to do a double like pennant on the side. But how I do that is I'm going to line this up. And sorry it's low in the camera frame, but I find it's easier for me personally to see what I'm doing if I line it up a little bit lower. Okay, so, or if I have it lower and closer to myself. So I'm gonna run it through like this. Okay, I ran it through, and then what I'm going to do is I will take my little die and just line this right back up, and you can see on the back, you know, how it's gonna lay in there, if that makes sense. That way you can line it up really nice. See how you can just line it up in the die? Hopefully you can see that right in that little tiny lip. So as long as you have it lined up that way and you have it visually centered how you'd like it, just run it through one more time to get that double-sided little pennant. Okay, hopefully that worked. So flipping it over, and see, just cut right here. So easy peasy, and now we have a double-sided. Oh, and the line, I centered it really well. At least I'm happy with it. Okay, we have all of our pieces, and we need our little card base and window frame. So let's check and make sure everything is dried in terms of our watercoloring. Okay, so organizing all of our little elements here. Everything turned out so cute. And now we get to just have some fun really bringing it all together. Okay, so I also have my little watercolor paper here, and really quickly, it's nice and dry. I'm going to put a little A2 layer dye right on that, and I want to make sure that I just trim it down just a hair. I like to have my panel just a tad bit smaller than my card base. I just visually really like how that looks, but go ahead and skip this part if that's not something you're into. But it's just, I feel like it really just accelerates the card just a tad. All right, that looks lovely. Okay, so pretty. So now I'm gonna grab my score buddy, and I want to make my card base because I think I'm just gonna build from the bottom up. Okay, so 110-pound cardstock. I want to make a top folding card. So I have this at 11 by 4 1/4, and half of 11 is 5 1/2. So if I score that at 5 1/2, then once I fold it, it will be an A2 size card, which are my favorite. And ooh, I kind of got that a little wonky. Let me see if I can, let's see what we can do. If not, you know, it's just the project of grace today. Grace upon card building. Okay, let's see here. Okay, that's not too bad. So let's go ahead, bring our card in. Again, we have 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to grab foam tape and start by popping my panel up off of my card base. I just personally like how that looks. It's an easy way to add some dimension, and I just think it looks super pretty. Okay, so we're gonna cut about 4 strips here. This foam tape. Almost done with this roll. If you've been following me, you know I had an unfortunate accident with it. Cleaning my craft room, just totally ran over it with my rolling craft chair, and it just looks sad day. But you know what? It still works. And it has a little story. Okay, peeling these little guys off. And I'm trying to think of other shows because I'm excited to hear what you all come up with in the comments. But I'm trying to think of what other shows we have really enjoyed in the past. Another one was Downton Abbey. We really liked that. In fact, we just recently watched the newest movie, and that was really good as well. Really liked that. Okay, so from here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to probably do this. I'm going to open it up just so it lays down very nicely for me. We have our nice window frame. So pretty. I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to just... Actually, you know what? I don't even need my pencil. I have a handy dandy eraser. There we go. That'll be a little bit easier. And let's just soften our little pencil marks here, just so they are not blaringly apparent in our final card. Okay. Okay, so I have my little craft caddy to the side here that I was showing you a video or two ago, and it is just amazing for me. Okay, what I'm going to do is I am going to have I'm going to cut down my window pane. And in fact, I know this sounds odd, but we're going to go from the bottom up, and I'll tell you why / show you why as I go. So grabbing more foam tape, I want to ensure that the little sentiment, I'm going to pop it up on foam tape, but I want to ensure that the distance from the bottom of this little sentiment is the same as the distance from the top of the window pane. So it's easiest for me to do it in this order, but approach it anyway. As long as you like how yours turns out, then that's perfect. Okay, so I want this to be here. Okay. Then what I want to do here is we're going to trim this down, so don't panic just yet, but I want this to be, I think I'm going to trim here about half. Let's try half and then see where we need to go here, because the window frame is just a tad big for what I need. Okay, so if I match the distance from the bottom of my sentiment and the distance from the top of my window pane, I have that, and then I have that. That's perfect. Okay, final answer. I am going to use liquid glue for the back of my window pane to put that on. Whoops, this little guy. Just drag in there. And weensy weensy. There we go. Okay. And place right there. And center there. Okay, really like that. Okay, pretty. Now I will go in with my couch. Okay, and let's do foam tape and pop this little couch up. So we'll do here and actually, so that it can fit in between those window panes, I might just trim this down a little bit. That way we don't have too much. Okay, so we'll do here and here. I think it will fit in that window pane area, right? I think so. That feels good. Okay, so now Sorry, got quiet for a minute, but the building is where I want to make sure that all the work that I put in thus far isn't ruined by me not focusing. Okay, so bring this in, being mindful to cover up the bottom of my watercolor, but also covering up my cut edges here with the arms of the chairs. And I think there looks good. Okay, pretty. Okay, now let's do the pillows. So I'm gonna put a pillow on each side of the couch. Just a little bit of glue will be perfect. And I'm gonna grab some tweezers. Now, if you note here, I didn't quite get this perfect. Do you see how I didn't quite line up my die just perfect? No problem at all, because she's gonna cover that when she sits on the couch. So I'm gonna make sure to do the nicer side out, because that's what the viewer will see. Okay, and that looks good. And this one didn't do too bad. But let's place that here. Cute. All right, now I want to work on him and her. Now I want them to cuddle. I'm thinking something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of my pink tape. I'm going to get them how I'd like them. So I'm going to have him overlap her just a hair. Cute. Yes. And in fact, I think I'm going to move this pillow over just a little bit. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Yes, I want to move that over just a little bit. It's just a little too far for me. Okay, I want it to be kind of a comfy, cozy interaction. There. There we go. Okay, let's get them back on there. I think something like that. And I kind of like how they're like tilted out, just because I think it provides a fun like arc, if you will. I think it's cute. I think it's better than this. That's still cute, but I like how I think that this is cuter. Okay, so I think it just kind of is happy, right? So I'm going to turn them around. I always love the back side of alcohol marker coloring. Honestly, it's debatably just as beautiful for me. Okay, grabbing some adhesive squares, I'm just going to tape those together and then pop them up. Okay. Peel, peel, and peel. And then place them right on the couch. So cute. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Oh, he's gonna love this. Okay, now because it's his birthday, I'm gonna let him have the remote. So I'm gonna put the remote by him. And where's my jewel tool? I'm gonna grab the little remote and stick that there. Cute. I like that. Oops, I think I need more glue. Just a second. A little bit more. Okay. Didn't want to stay. Okay. Let that dry. And then let's have her with the popcorn, and he can have the little cup. And I like the movement of the straw going out. I just think that's cute. And then, again, bringing in that kind of minty blue on the bowl to kind of tie in the sky in the background. Oh, I think they're so cute. I love how they look. I'll turn this bowl just a little bit. They are so sweet and cuddly. Okay, now I want to add a little bit of fun to the background. And I thought it'd be fun to bring in these stars. I've used these in quite a few videos. They're just so fun. You can do so many things with them. But I want to add a little starry night behind them. So I'm gonna try not to be too terribly methodical, but also that is where I struggle. But I'm gonna put 3 on each side. And I think that looks pretty fun. Maybe bring that up just a little. I don't want it to be so like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I want it to be different from the other ones, but I don't want to fit another one in here. So I'm gonna just stop there. I say that and then I peel it up and try to fix. Okay, there we go. I like that. Okay, how cute are they? And then I'll just fold this back down and there's our final card. I think it's adorable. I think it's so fun. I think you'll love it. I think it's something fun and different, but it's so appropriate for his birthday at least, right? And that's the beautiful part of making your own cards and not buying them, is that you can make those creative decisions and really personalize the card to the person you're making it for. So I just think that's so fun. I love it so much. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the fact that there were a couple mistakes along the way, because you know what? That is just the name of crafting. That is the name of DIY. Everything has a little bit of heart, a little bit of sweat, and sometimes a little bit of tears, but we decided not to cry over it today. All right, everybody, I hope this was helpful and fun for you to watch. I hope that you took away some inspiration or another in this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. But also, don't forget, tell me what your favorite show is, because we're kind of finishing up some shows and I feel like we are going to be in need of our next fun little couch venture, right? All right, everyone, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.